What is going on, guys? Name's D Free from Dueling Central. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, punch the subscribe button if you're new, and leave a like if you enjoyed it. So we're going to go ahead and showcase a Mythical Beast Cerberus deck. Now, I want to go ahead and say this is more or less the budget variant. It can be better if you run Gravekeeper's Vassal, Union Attack, all of that. But that's not what we're doing here today. So either way, I hope you guys enjoy it, like I said. So we're running one of these and Draw Sense Light. This is on Kaiba. A couple other variants you can use for skills would be Dual Standby could be sneaky good, but it depends on your ability to draw into a Cerberus. So maybe you'd want to draw 3. You could even run Balance to possibly get one of those. But what you'd probably want to do is run Draw Sense Light or something like Destiny Draw or last but not least, Sorcery Conduit. Those last two are on Yugi, so that's what you would want to do. So we're running Ryoku. This is from the Card Trader. I believe Mythical Beast Cerberus from the Card Trader too. Shard of Greed is not necessary. It's just to speed up the deck. It can be dropped out of the deck for any other glossy variant on cards that you want. It really doesn't matter. I just like to be done in like a certain number of turns. You could drop it for a third Cup of Ace. It doesn't really matter at all, okay? So this doesn't matter either. It's just a field spell card. I put it in the deck because it's a field spell, which one, it doesn't take any of your 3 regular spell slots, and it's glossy, so you get more glossy points. Birth a little bit. Reign of Mercy is really good too because it allows you to manage Marik's life points because he does lose life points due to the effect of Shadow Game. So you could run a couple of these. I actually ran one because the problem with this deck is it can get a bit high on life points due to the soul absorption here, or spell absorption. So we're running 2 of those and Storm to basically clear out his Nightmare Wheels so your Cerberus can attack. And you're running 3 Soul of the Pures because they're glossy cards, and they once again are good with helping recover life points because you're going to be very low on life points with a build like this because you are going to be funneling a lot of cards into the graveyard pretty much. I'm going to drop that for another Cup of Ace, to be honest. Goblin Secret Remedy is another one of those life point increasing cards, which could be very solid. But like I was saying, this card gives you 500 more additional life points, and the problem with that is it's good, but you want to make sure that you can manage Marik's life points to leverage it to where you're below him. So sometimes, and I think I do this in one of the dual replays, you may want to avoid playing this card, especially the second one, because you don't want to get too much life point recovery. You want to make sure you can at least try to get as low life points as possible, but it's kind of hard to do, which is the only thing that bothers this deck as far as like holding it back a little bit, because you could probably get over 7K. This deck is going to net you about 6K as it's currently constructed. Cup of Ace is a solid card because it's glossy and it doesn't really matter who gets the draw. At the very least, you'd hope it's you because you can kind of move a little faster. And you don't want Marik to run out of cards or funnel too many cards into his graveyard, which is why a second Reign of Mercy could be very good as well. Because if he starts getting in a situation where he has to put cards in his graveyard via discarding from his hand, that could be scary. Gather the Mind is it's basically a +1. It's unless you activate this card, you get another one from your deck. Only problem is you can't activate 2 in one turn, so you have to wait another turn to get the other one. Thins your deck. It's a spell card. And once again, Ryoku and Stop Defense are basically the end game combo. You stop defense, you have your Mythical Beast here, Ryoku, into attacking his monster, and that's over 10k damage, which is going to get you about 6,700 points if done that way. If you only get 500 or 5,000 damage because you didn't Ryoku or whatever, because there's no 8,000, 6,000, 7,000, you have to do over 9,999 or over 5,000 damage. You'll lose 1,200 points on that, so you'll probably be around 5,500 points if we do that. So that's pretty much it. Now, the only problem with this deck, aside from, like I said, it gets a little high on life points. You can't get the low life point bonus or comeback victory, which is one of the reasons why you want to try to make sure that you can manage Marik's life points, right? So Pot of Benevolence could be a really good card in this deck if you run it, because you can take cards out of his graveyard. The problem with that is it doesn't go to your graveyard, so you don't take an additional 100. So that could be one thing. And the only other problem is if Marik starts first and you draw into a hand of cards that you don't want to play yet, for example, Ryoku, Stop Defense, cards that you need for your endgame combo, right? Whether you draw into this or not, it doesn't matter, but it's better if you start with it. But either way, if he starts first and you don't draw into these cards, then it's not as good for you because he could actually potentially bring out the Mythical Beast, and that'll basically make it a little harder for you. So let's go ahead and jump into some dual replays here and see what we can do here. So I saved them. It's a little easier, like I said, to do it that way. We have dual replays. I have a couple of them I'm going to show you guys here. A couple different variants. I'm not going to... Oh... It's like, you didn't lose connection. I'm not going to really comment. I still think this is so great. I'm not going to commentate a whole lot, but I'm going to make sure you guys can kind of follow. It's very simple. You just basically stall until you're out of cards. Pretty much, you want to make sure your deck gets as small as possible. All right. So you see I opened up with a hand. Like I said, this is actually a very solid hand, but I think I'm going to misplay here. No, I do not misplay. This is actually a good hand. That gave me another Gather Your Mind. Wait, I may actually misplay here. I think I activate the Ryoku, which you need to make sure that you can activate. This thing starts off at 500. It needs to get to 3,400. So in order to do that, it starts off at 1,400, gets 500 additional. So it needs 2,000. So you need to activate 4 spell cards in one turn. So this is why I said it could be a little tricky. I think I was forced to use the Ryoku early. Unless I get the lucky spin here. So since I don't, he gets those 2 cards, which could have been 2 cards for me. I'm forced, because I can't use that second Gather Your Mind, I'm forced to use Ryoku here. Just in case he were to summon that Desgardius Mass Beast, it would have had 3,300 attack. So I just need to make sure I can get over that. So this farm wound up being 5,500 points because I had to use that Ryoku prematurely, and Gather Your Mind becomes a useless card in that regard once you've used it once. You see I'm kind of low on life points. This is where this is pretty good. It gives me life points, and it also buffs Marik's life points to where I will continually be behind him. One thing I didn't realize in this duel is that you don't want to activate that spell absorption until you absolutely need it. You want to hold off on using that card until last turn, so you can use your Storm ideally, right? It helps you recover way too many life points, all the while you're going to continue to try to get more cards put in your graveyard. One thing you can do is hold on to some of these cards as long as possible in your hand and maximize your 6-card hand limit, and that'll help out a little bit as well. You see I'm just continually just playing cards. And this is, like I said, I'm getting over his life points. It's not so bad because I'll wind up being lower than him every turn. But when I start healing more because I have more heal spells in my deck, which is, like I said, I shouldn't have activated this, then it becomes a problem. Because now I'm getting 1,000 life points every time I activate a spell. And if it's a heal spell, I'll get 1,000 on top of whatever it would have healed me. So I'm just basically getting too many. And once again, the lower your deck size, the less life points you have, the better off you'll be as far as end of the duel assessment goes. Him actually activating that is great because it will give you 500 more, but the problem is it gave me 1,000 life points. I think another sneaky thing you could do is use Pitchback Power Stone. I think you can actually take all the spell counters off the Magical Citadel and give them over to the Cerberus. I'll have to try it, but don't quote me. So I activated this here because I wanted to get rid of those. He's going to force activate the Nightmare Wheels, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to destroy them. I had the ability to allow Magical Citadel to stay there due to its effect, but it didn't matter. Once again, you don't have to run that. It's just there because it's a field spell card. It takes an additional slot. Run any field spell you want. But he has no other cards. I think those are the only 2 traps in his deck. So here we are, end game. I activate this. I have too many life points. I don't get the comeback victory or any of that. Gonna change him to attack mode. Since I didn't have Ryoku, it wound up not being enough to get over 9,999 damage. So like I said, it wasn't enough points in that one. Now I think I don't get the comeback victory in the second assessment I'm going to show, but I do get the 10,000. Which is why I said you want to make sure you can manage your life points. So honestly, probably running 2 or 3 Rain of Mercies could be good, especially if you hold off on using spell absorption until like one of the final turns. Because once again, it's good because it allows Marik to recover life points. And this deck is going to funnel a lot of cards into the graveyard, so you're going to be taking a lot more damage per turn on average than him. Now, this is ideal hand here. This is an ideal hand here because I can basically end my turn if I start off, take that there. So if I start, I'm in a better position because I can activate Draw Sense, which allows me to immediately draw the Cerberus, and I can just funnel cards in to allow it to be strong enough. Once again, I should have waited on using that. That should have been the last card I used. This is something I just realized in this portion of the video. I literally just realized how problematic that card could be life point wise. And I was very fortunate to get that first cup of ace to go my way. It didn't really matter. I think I had enough cards anyway. But you just need to make sure you can activate 4 spells before he brings out the Descartes. And in fact, I don't even know if he'll even bring out that monster because it is basically a -1 because he has to use 2 monsters to summon 1. I don't think he even bothers to play it when it's not strong enough for a monster in attack position. Against like Labyrinth Builder, he will play it because you're in defense mode. You have no attack, so you can't destroy it. But against this deck, I don't think he even bothers to play it if you beat him to it. So you just stall here, to be honest. And I think in this duel, I try not to activate my spells so much. At least for a while. Okay. And once again, any field spell you want. That one's just glossy, so I'm running it. It's fine. I'm just waiting for a storm, to be honest. I really want to storm off the spell absorption cards. I really wanted to, but I think that I don't draw storm until like the final turn, which really bothered me. And I got to a point where I had to start playing these cards from my hand because I didn't want to just send them to the graveyard without getting that additional 500 attack. But had I drawn storm anytime sooner, I would have immediately used it and then started taking a lot of life point damage per turn. And there was a couple turns left because I had a couple draws left, and I would have been set. It would have been perfect. I'm at a point where I'm taking 1,000 damage a turn. And I'm still significantly higher than him. So here we are, final turn. Watch that final turn combo. Set the Gather Your Mind because it's useless. He's going to force activate those, but they don't do anything here. It doesn't matter. And I destroy his back row. Get that 500. Activate Shard of Greed. This time, I'm just forcing out spell cards. It doesn't really matter. Just trying to get that attack increase. I'm going to use the Ryoku. And we're going to be golden. And I'm going to activate that for the glossy bonus. And boom. Exactly over 10,000. Had I not used that last one, it wouldn't have been enough. It would have been 9,900. I think, and it would have been like 99 damage short or something like that, almost 100 damage short. So that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I talked about options. If you skipped it, go back and check it out. I talked about the options you can replace. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.